Hello, everybody. Today I am thrilled to introduce you to Tatiana Ivanova, who she's just helped me so much, and I'm so excited to share her with you all. You've made such a huge difference in my life, and I know you can make such a huge difference in my community's life. And I'm so happy you could join me today.
It is such an honor, Yvonne. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy you said yes.
Yeah.
Um, where you helped me so much was with the money mindset. I was so off and I was stuck. And I think so many women in my community are also stuck. They're in the lack. They feel stuck. They feel all their problems would be solved if only they had money. But it's what I learned from you is that's backwards. The money comes after you believe it will, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I would love for you to talk about how we can reverse that and have it where we believe we have the money and the money comes instead of believing if we had the money, whatever it is would come. Because so many women are stuck in a relationship or in a job they don't like, in a place where they're not happy. But what I realized going through all of this myself is you can get the money and it'll just go away because it doesn't change anything unless you've done the shift inside first. So,
Absolutely. And it's such a powerful question to start with because, I was stuck in the lack mindset for all my adult life. I was chasing money. I saw people with money as powerful. And if I didn't have money, I was nothing. I actually attached power to money. And since money was always like outside of me, the source of money was my corporate job. The source of money was, people with money or clients with money. The source of money was my husband at some point when I saw him as the source. So I perceived money as something external, as something separate from me. And I perceived money for so many years as a power that is more than me. I was less than. So those two plus all the negative beliefs and perceptions about money, like, only people who steal have a lot of money, or you have to work really, really, really hard to earn money. And money is not easy. And all of that stuff created my reality where I was chasing money, I was working hard, yet I never had enough because I also had this limiting mind capacity, belief that you can work so hard, yet there's always never enough. So at one point, I realized, oh, hold on. So if I create my reality through my beliefs and thoughts, so my money reality is just a reflection of my mindset. It's just a reflection of my beliefs and my perceptions. So hold on, let me just, become more aware about my beliefs about money and start shifting them. And then as I started, I actually dedicated a couple of years just studying money, the energy of money, how create money outside of the corporate job, right? And what I realized is, first of all, money is not separate from me, it's within me. It actually, I create money with just my intentions, my energy, and my actions in the world, right? So, and then also what I realized at one point that I am the source of money, meaning it's not my corporate job, it's not my husband, it's not clients with big money who are the sources of my money, and I'm chasing them all around. No, I am the source, and everything else is just a reflection of me. So if I have a powerful money mindset and the, beliefs and thinking that align with what I want to create, that's how I created. So I am the source and I create money through my intentions, thinking, words, and actions. So when I started doing this, I realized, oh my God, this is so easy. This is amazing. And, it just changes your life. You become happy, you become free, you become liberated, and you feel empowered, to create your own reality, wealthy reality, abundant reality, just by shifting your mindset and by intentionally creating the money you desire. Money comes to your specific intentions. So you're going to know why you need money. Like there should be a specific intent. I need $10,000 to for that, right? And you create it. And you create it. So yes, money is such an amazing and powerful topic, and I can talk about it for weeks and months. But the core of it, the core of this perception and paradigm shift for me was to realize that I'm the source of money. The source of money is not outside of me, but it's within me, and I can create as much money as I desire by shifting something internally, by aligning my thinking, my energy, and taking aligned action.
That's where I went very wrong in my past. So I'm so glad you were talking about that, because I always saw money as an outside source, and I always saw the world against me when it came to money,
Mm,
which I think a lot of women do, especially women who didn't like, there's corporate now, but a lot of the Gen X women or baby boomers, they didn't actually work outside the home. Or if they did, it was more of a minimum wage type of job just to, I don't know, buy vacation money. And in my case, and suddenly you're in your 50s and you're divorced, it just does not cut it anymore, because we lose half of everything. At least in Canada, we lose half of everything. And we do not have time on our side to make up for the training or the experience, to get a better job, especially in economies that don't necessarily align with older workers getting a well-paying job now to support us. So we have to look outside the box, because in the box is not going to get us wealthy.
mhm.
It's designed to keep us stuck. The lid is solid on that box, and we have to burst through the box to think differently. And that's where you helped me so much, because I kept trying to do stuff in the box. I one job didn't cut it, so I took a second job. But a lot of us are also single moms, and it's like, where do the kids fit in? Where does family, where do all the things we value fit in when we're in a container that makes us go work a second job, or in a lot of cases, a third job? And I just think that, with finding our empowerment with money and finding out it's inside of us, and like you said, we can then create our reality. Some people here might go like, I struggle with that because this is my life. So can you maybe talk about shifting the story? There's a bit in my community, but I would love your perspective on how we shift the story that's been ingrained in our head for our whole lives, a lot of times, to make it available to have this new money mindset.
Absolutely. So, shifting the story is absolutely essential, and it's the first step to creating consciously, creating your reality from your conscious choice, right? So, but there are other levels and other layers as to how we create our reality. So, there are three layers of creation. First is your highest self, your soul leading you to the vision that's absolutely possible and available for you right here, right now. So you are more than just a body, you are a soul, um, living this reality. In fact, your body is in your soul, your aura is your soul. So once you connect to that vision that feels true, that feels, vivid and exciting and inspiring, and you're meant for it, that means your soul has this vision for you. And that means it's possible for you to create it. So this is the first layer of creation, that vision, right? The second layer of creation you create with your mind. So your mind gets to be aligned with that vision, right? So that's where we start shifting those stories and limiting beliefs. But first, you got to know what you're creating. So your vision is the primary vector or direction as to where to go and what to create, right? Vision is key. And then you align your mindset, meaning, so you ask yourself, what are the limiting beliefs? What is that gap in my thinking that is not in alignment with that vision that is true, feels true, and is true for me, the vision that I'm here to create? That's where you go into the mindset work. And you ask yourself, what are those limiting beliefs that are telling me that that vision is not possible, that I can't create it, that I'm not good enough, that I am not worthy, that supply is limited, that money is scarce? So you start really unraveling all those beliefs, and there will be quite a few. And this is a work that takes some time, but it's so rewarding, because once you remove all that stuff, you really embody that creative power that you are, and things become easy. You literally create with this quantum field, with this quantum reality, and you don't depend on anyone, just you don't depend on a system-based structure, on a corporate, on your husband, on your relative, nothing. You are the sole creator of your life, right? So mindset work is essential, and it's an everyday commitment. Then there's embodiment. What does embodiment mean? Your body has to feel safe with a lot of money, with receiving big sums of money, right? So once you start working with your mind, you already shift your frequency, your predominant frequency. It becomes more elevated, more higher vibrational. It's more peace and joy and acceptance and surrender and ease, right? But your body also has to think safe, creating that abundance, creating that wealth. So when you are in the process of creating a new life, a life based on freedom, wealth, purpose, keep in mind three layers of creation: your soul guiding you, your mind supporting you, and your body really embodying, integrating that energy of you already living that vision. That's key, because you attract with your energy. So when all those layers, three layers, are aligned, that's how you create with ease, with joy. You see results. That's when you actually see that you are the power, you are the creator and the source. It's not separate, it's not out there, it's you. That's when it becomes fun.
And it does. It becomes a lot more fun. What's your take? Because with the limiting beliefs, and this was a huge breakthrough I had recently, was with the receiving and
Mm.
worthiness. So could you give your perspective about worthiness and how you have an ability to receive?
Yes, and worthiness and receiving, they're just, very good friends. So if you're taking your life to the next level, you got to upgrade your sense of worth first. This is like your first shift that needs to take place. It's to allow yourself to be worthy and feel worthy of that next level of relationship, next level of wealth, next level of happiness. Every time I elevate my business, my money, my life, the first thing I tell myself, I'm worthy of that next level. I am worthy of it, because this actually activates the receiving. Your worthiness takes your frequency to the next level. You feel worthy, you feel open to receive, and that opens up the gates of your receiving. Okay. Another thing to receive is to feel in your body that that next level of your life, relationship, money is safe for you. There's so much wounding and trauma when it comes to subconscious programming. I deal a lot with, when entrepreneurs are elevating and they're opening up to receive big sums of money, a lot of times they don't feel safe receiving, let's say, multiple five figures as a lump sum. Because sometime in their ancestral line or their past lives, there was some kind of big wound, big trauma that hasn't been healed, and it's still in their blueprint. It's still somewhere on the subconscious level. So there are two things to be open to receive. First is to feel worthy of that next level, and then to be safe. Your body has to feel safe. Okay, so those two things, they're essential to be open to receive.
And
Yeah.
so do you find that we can receive a certain amount if we haven't increased our frequency, but we will plateau? So even if we increase our worthiness, there's going to be a point where we're like, I don't feel more worthy than 100,000. And then your next level, 200,000. Do you find that at each stage there is a struggle with worthiness and of receiving? Or once you kind of get past it, you get to leap up till you can be millionaire?
I feel that, there is a level of integration. Yes, there is. Like for me, I grow and expand and receive higher and higher amounts of money only after I embody that amount as safe and I am worthy of it. So right now I can easily receive with that, like easily create and receive multiple five-figure months in my business. Before I struggle with it because I didn't feel worthy and it didn't feel safe. I had a sticky point around $6,000. Like I couldn't get past it for some time. Like first it was like all around 3,000. For a long time, my ceiling was around 3,000. Then there was six. There was something around six that I had to heal. I just like felt sticky. So when I healed that and opened up for more, that's when I started receiving above 10, 17. Last month was 28. And 40. It feels natural. Like my body feels absolutely natural, expanded, and worthy of that stuff, that level of wealth. I'm now elevating to the millionaire frequency, which is 80,000 a month. And it feels different. It feels more expansive and it feels as this like the frequency is more pure and it's more elevated. So I'm embodying that frequency first and opening up to receive. And I know where that money will go. So you have to have purpose for your money. It's not just like, I want to be a millionaire. No, like, why? Like, what is that purpose for that money? So you got to allocate money before you receive that, meaning know where it's going and then start embodying that frequency, right? How would it feel to receive 80K every month? That's a completely different frequency, right? So you embody it first, you start thinking and making your decisions from that level, and you integrate it into your identity, and then money comes in. That's how it works.
Okay, so your vision is imperative and your why, you need to
Mm-hmm.
integrate those in order to be receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Absolutely. Yes.
kind of two big things. So for everybody, make sure you know why you want the money and then have the vision of what that looks like, because you're saying it cannot be done without that.
Right. Money loves
Done
specific.
permanently. Like it can come in and out, but we want it to come in and go redirect it to where we want.
Mm-hmm. And we want it consistently, right? So if I want to receive $1 million a year, that's 80,000 a month. So how does it feel to be receiving $80,000 a month? First of all, where would that money go, right? And then second of all, that level of you, that identity of you, it's within you. You're just going to unlock it. You start creating your life, making decisions, taking actions, taking risks, investments from that position as if you're already the millionaire. And it's only after money comes in. So you become that first, you start doing or acting from that space, and then you start having it. So it's be, do, have. Become, create from that space, and then open up to receive. That,
Okay.
that's the process.
All right. So do you think that's where the sticky points come in? Because I think a lot of people in my community will have sticky points because it's been a lifelong battle of not having enough money and thinking it will solve our problem. So it is a complete mind shift. But do you think sticky points or ceilings come because our vision isn't big enough? Like or our why isn't big enough. Like we just think, oh, if I have $3,000, I can leave because I can pay the rent and groceries. Or if then you're like, oh, that's now I feel comfortable. I can receive the 6,000, and then you have to integrate and feel more comfortable. So your why, if you start with a massive why and a massive vision, can the brain even comprehend that big and make the shifts, or are you better to step it up even though you'll have ceilings, but just kind of go up and level up, go up a
Mm.
level, go up a level in order to make your subconscious not fight you on it, if that makes
Yeah,
sense?
yeah. So having that vision in your heart, in your mind, as that projection, as that direction is key. And I always ask my clients, people, to always have that vision. It's that point towards which you are building, right? You are creating. You have it as your vector. Now, I love to chunk it up. Let's say I know my how my grand vision looks like and feels like. It's a millionaire, multimillionaire lifestyle. Now, my physicality needs to gradually open up, upgrade itself to get there. Because your mind will not create multi-millions if your ceiling is 3,000 a month, you know? You got to open up and integrate consistently higher and higher levels of you, which require some releasing and letting go, right? Which require you upgrading your worthiness, which require you working with your nervous system so that your body feels safe receiving larger amounts of money. And once you start seeing that, oh, 3,000, now I am around 10, I'm receiving 10K months, it feels different. Then you set a different, let's say, goal, multiple five figures, 30,000, 40,000. How does it feel? It feels more expansive. So you expand to receive more. To me, it's this gradual expansion because each level will require you to work with your mindset, to work with your nervous system, with your body, and embody that next level identity. You see, so it's a gradual process. You can't really, if you've been living in like 3K frequency, your mind, your body won't be able to open up to start receiving 80K out of the blue. There's some work, there's process that involves. And to me, it's a gradual but very consistent work, very focused, very like it's a commitment from my side. Does it make sense?
Yes. So you're saying have the big vision
Mm-hmm.
and then chunk it down. So
That's
your
how it's
so your
created.
body can adapt in the middle of it. And you might need to clear help with clearing limiting beliefs. Some of them are pretty ingrained in us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it could be even, I guess that's why people upgrade their self-help books to then a coach to then a mastermind, and they have to go up because they need to level up with it, and it's a whole other set of beliefs that they're battling. Because
Mm-hmm.
I know with me I have the great big vision,
Mm-hmm.
and I've chunked it down. And in my head, I live in that big vision, but I know I have to chunk it down to get there, because it's a lot of money. It's having a full-blown retreat that people live at for long term, like a year, to heal, because I've also learned you don't heal in 2 weeks. And you might have a good theory on this. I don't know if it applies, but I went away for like, this was a few years ago before I was divorced. And I went away for a couple weeks and I came back and I was so angry. Like, I was supposed to get better and I came back. I was so miserable and so angry, because I knew this wasn't the life I wanted and I didn't know how to get out of it. But I had a taste of what it was like to not be in survival mode
Mm-hmm.
for a week on a beach. And I realized that that doesn't help us a lot of times to do the healing. It gets us angry, which is good to do something about it, but I didn't know where to turn. So my goal was to open a long-term retreat where people could go through the whole process and have a place to stay while they're at it. Because usually when you leave somebody who's abusive, you don't have a place to stay. And that's why we need to get our money organized.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a small step in the great big picture of life.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you find with people how the time frame maybe to heal? Because I'm thinking it can be, you said you'd studied money for a couple of years. Like, this isn't an overnight process, and I don't want people to think it is. It's a long-term life commitment, but we really want to compress time and speed it up to the fastest speed we can.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, you know, creating a healthy body when you are sick, when you have a chronic condition, takes time. Creating a lifestyle that is based in, freedom and, freedom of expression, freedom of time and space takes time. It's a process. Now, in all of that, what is essential is first to know what you're creating, right? This is the number one key. Always have a vision. And the second important thing is to know and fully believe, and then just witness it in your life, that you're fully guided and supported, no matter where you are, with your health, with your relationship, with your money. So it's, really believing that everything is working for you, even if it doesn't look like it. There's a lot of learning and a lot of healing and a lot of like great benefits in the situation that you are facing. So I realized very early on that everything is working for me, no matter how bad it looked externally. I realized that even in the worst case, situations, I was loved, guided, and supported by God, by people close to me. And once you have this faith in source, in God, when you have this faith that, you have you and you have people who are there to support you, um, this helps you overcome pretty much anything, right? So, but you got to understand that in order to create something different and something that, it's completely next level for you got to shift from the inside. You got to shift your beliefs. You got to let go of the fears. You got to open up. You got to trust the process. But most importantly, trust yourself, right? And realize that you are the creator and you can create. So those, the third belief that is so important is that you can create it. It's possible for you to create a different life, different relationship, a different level of wealth. So it's having a vision. Second, knowing that everything is working for you to create that vision. And third, believing in yourself, trusting the process and believing in yourself. and then taking consistent actions, daily actions. When I healed myself from a chronic GI condition, which my doctors told, me and my husband that I'm not going to make it through a surgery, I took daily actions to heal myself. Yes, it took 2 to 3 years to completely, fully heal, but I did it. Same with my business and money thing. I took daily actions to change my lack of money, struggle, always struggling with, just like finding money and paying my bills, even at my corporate job, never enough. So it takes time, it takes consistent focus, it takes consistent actions, mostly on yourself, to shift any reality. But the key is to always know that everything is working for you and happening for you, and believing in yourself that you can do it. With those beliefs, you can go just through anything in life. Does that make sense? Is that helpful?
That does. And it's true. I found a journal I had, and I think it was in 2019, and I wrote, this year I choose, or the next year, because it was in December, I choose faith over fear.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, that's my motto, because I have to have that faith that things will work out, or I just wouldn't have made it. and and it does. And the thing I found super interesting is we can't attach to how it's going to work out. That was my biggest lesson. So we have to be open and let go of the actual outcome. And so many things in my life went completely sideways from my very structured plan. And when I look back, it was such a blessing. And so I think people need to realize that, even if we're in a really lousy situation where it's either finances or relationship, anything like that, that we just have to take the lessons and have the faith and, like you said, believe in ourselves that we've got this. And the consistent action has been a struggle of mine. That part, I do a lot of learning and not a lot of implementing, and now I have to cut back on the learning and do more implementing. But I think if we balance that, where we learn something, then implement it, learn something, then implement it, it probably would be more successful. So what's your view on the implementation of what we learn?
Mm, that's a beautiful question. So I realized early on that my healing has two parts, or my creations have two parts. Whatever I want to create, money, success, a successful project, loving relationship. First one is conceptual, and first one is, really connecting to that, higher wisdom, next level wisdom. And it's more just like inspirational phase where like, oh, it's like, aha, oh, I get it, oh, it sounds amazing. But that is only 50% of the result. Like this conceptual stuff, when we learn and we get inspired and we experience those ahas and shifts, only 50%. The other 50% is the integration, right? So integration is really could be fun when if you tell yourself it's going to be an easy and fun way to integrate this, right? A lot of times we say, oh, it's too complicated, it's hard, um, our limiting beliefs start to come out. No, I'm not capable of creating it, who am I, and things like that. And again, it's looking at those limiting beliefs. If you think that implementation is hard, it's going to be hard. If you feel it's going to be like, you won't be able to create it, you won't be able to create it. Again, it's shifting those beliefs to support you in actually taking it into action. I always tell myself, oh, it's going to be easy. Oh, it's going to be easy and fun. Let's just have some fun with this. And yes, it becomes fun, you know. And you open up to guidance, and here's this idea how you can implement it much faster. Ooh, thank you. And there's so different tools and resources and gadgets that are available for us to, make it a more fun, easy, and enjoyable experience. So it's conceptual and practical that creates 100% result, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you got to keep that in mind. Yeah.
You know, I was always told my whole life, you're so serious. You're such a serious kid. And
Uh,
I realized, yeah, I am. Um, but I think in my growth, it's like, okay, I have to make it a game. And it's just like any video game where you have, I don't know, 5 lives. and, and
mhm.
and I've just, we just have to pretend we've blown past the fourth, we're on the last one, because we've already, killed off the other four characters. And then we're just leveling up. But we've got the experience from the other characters, even though they didn't make it. We have their experience, so we can go further on each level. And it's so much more fun that way. And I think, well, being on your fifth character is actually more fun than being on the first one,
Mhm.
because you have that experience, you have that guidance, you figured out how to conquer some of the monsters. And it makes it easier and fun. So I think if we switch it to a game mentality, and we can choose our characters, and we can choose when they have the little triangle where you have the squares, where you pick, your dog and your hair color and whatever. You pick who
Yeah.
you are, and that's how you're creating what you say. We just create who we want to be. And oh, I want a cat, and I want a dog, and I want a duck, whatever. I want a big house, a small house, a farm. You just choose. And that's really exactly what we can do, and we don't think of it, but we just have to think we're in the middle of a video game. Our experience was our characters that got offed, and we're on our last one, and we got to make the most of it. And you know just go all in.
Absolutely. And I love this analogy, the analogy of the game and your character getting that experience, and it's getting more fun and easier. And life is pretty much just like you described. As you shed all the not all, but like, limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck and small and fearful, and you open up and you realize that life is this beautiful, loving, abundant field of energy. Life is nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. We project fears into life. Life is this beautiful quantum field that is vibrating with love. The essence of love, the essence of energy is unconditional love, right? So imagine you in the field, your life around you that is vibrating with love, abundance, and infinite possibilities. And you are the creator, you are that player or that character in your game. And the only thing you get to do is to choose what you would love to experience. What would you love to create? What would you love to give to others? What would you love? And when you shift that paradigm that everything is here vibrating with love, ready to support you, if you only trust this beautiful reality, if you only open up, and create from your pure intentions, from your heart, from joy, from the place of freedom and abundance. And you realize life is such a magnificent journey of you creating your most delicious reality. The key here is, of course, to let go of fear. So there's fear and there's love. You can either create from fear or you can either create from love. Those two polarities exist. And unfortunately, a lot of us, we are wired in fear. We create from fear and we experience more fear-based consciousness and life, right? So and fear is more the, the operating system of our mind, right? And I talk about this inside my community. You can either live from your ego or fearful mind and create from that space, and typically it's more fear based, or you can open up your heart and create from the space of your heart and soul. And that's a completely different operating system. It's a completely different perception about who you are and this beautiful life, beautiful quantum field. And the results that you are creating, they're so much easier and so much enjoyable to create if you come from the space of heart, from the space of love, pure presence, pure acceptance. That game is so much more fun than this game, you know?
It's so true. And we can go back to the game analogy, because every time you finish a level, like you level up, it even says level up, it's a whole new world.
It's a whole
Every
new.
level is a whole new world. And if you take a game, it doesn't matter if it's Pac-Man or what, it doesn't matter. When you think of the first level, that's like almost survival mode. You're just trying to get through the maze just to get your bearings. And then when you finish the game, I don't even know if it finishes level 30, whatever. It's a completely different game. It's a completely different universe, but you had to go through the little all the levels to get up there, and you meet new people, you meet new characters, you meet new monsters, and how you shift your mind to go into each level, because we can go into that level with a fear of what's going to get us this time, or we can go into, wow, I cannot wait to see what this level has to offer me. And you're doing the exact same thing, but your thought is different, and that makes a completely different experience.
Mhm. Absolutely. I love how you put it, how you framed it and put it into this, game analogy. It's absolutely right. Yeah, I love it. It actually, gives a simpler view of this very complex, creation of life and elevation to the next level. But yeah, you gradually elevate. Don't stop, because if you're not growing, you're dying. You got to be always growing and expanding in the fun way, in the easy way. Give yourself so much love and grace through this process. Love yourself, nurture yourself, but always keep that vision in mind, that vector, where you are going, how you are expanding, elevating, and taking yourself to that next level, after next level, after next
Perfect.
level.
It's just like setting a GPS. You have to have where you are, where you're going, and you need to be prepared for detours.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. So, is it okay if I just ask you a couple questions that I ask some of the people I interview?
Of course.
I'll find some that are appropriate. What is the one thing you learned while going through your journey that you would really wish your inner child would know?
Mm, that I'm always safe and loved. I'm
Ah,
always safe. I had issues with safety. I was full of fear. And I thought that life doesn't love me and my mom doesn't love me, but she is. So I'm safe and I'm always loved.
that's exactly probably what I would tell my inner child as well. And what was the defining moment that you experienced in life that got you onto this path? Like when you said you were sick and the doctors gave you no hope, or when you're like, why am I always broke, or chasing money, chasing? But what was the absolute defining moment when you're like, I need to make a shift in my life because this isn't working for me?
Hmm. It was the lowest moment of my life related to my health. I checked into MGH and I said, I can't live like this anymore because I can't eat, I can't walk, I can't even drink water. And my doctors told me that, yeah, I'm a very critical, situation and I might not make it. So that was my rock bottom moment, which actually made me realize that I have to change something dramatically. And I did. I shifted my perception as to, the power that I have to heal myself. Took full responsibility for my disease and took action to heal myself fully, which I did.
And we are so glad you did.
Thank you.
And that's the thing is there's such a conflict between, you could say, Western medicine and Eastern medicine, or just natural or trying to heal ourselves, because sometimes we forget how powerful not just the earth, but everything on the earth is.
Mhm.
And we look for somebody else to heal us from the outside. And it's interesting because it's exactly what you did that changed your life, was when you decided to heal from the inside with responsibility. So
Yeah.
good
Heal-
on you.
Healing from within. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. And do you have a superpower, or did you have something that was absolutely not a superpower that you could turn into one?
I can connect to your soul and I can talk to your soul and I can know your highest purpose. So I think that's my superpower. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good superpower.
Yeah.
So do you have it where, just curious, where you're walking around the Walmart parking lot and you can look at people's souls, or is it a permission thing where you go into an environment?
It's a permission thing. The intention has to be super pure from you and from me. You have to give me the permission to access your soul and to connect to you at the highest level. And then I can read the energy. It just through years of healing, of going really deep within myself, I opened up to all those powers. And this is the same power you have. You just haven't tapped into it, but we have that ability to connect to our souls and to souls of other people because we're all one. It's one energy, it's one consciousness. So we have that power to tap into our high consciousness.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I always wondered if people are like reading us when we're walking by.
So it has to be really pure and intentional, and it has to be, for the highest purpose, not just like random stuff. If there
And
is,
never do harm. Do you have that where you just to
yeah,
never do harm?
you never do harm.
Oh, okay, and then that makes it open up.
Mm-hmm.
And something my community, for me, that I'm really big on is having people, if you have to work outside the container of a 9 to 5 or 2 jobs, and create something from within, because I believe that you're exchanging value, not money. Like, what can you exchange for value and offer people? You work with your gifts, and that probably has made you way happier than you were in corporate. So what would you say to people about having their business being like what they're passionate about versus their business being what they do so they can do what they're passionate about?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, first of all, is shifting the belief that your sacred gifts um, have no value, right? We always see value in the corporate, but we think that or believe that whatever we have to offer to the world, it's not valuable. Who are we to offer our gifts to the world, right? So it's like this identity piece and the value that we actually don't see in our experience and our talents and our gifts. So it's shifting that and really owning, really seeing and then owning the value of you, the value of your gifts, the value of your talents, of your experience, of your skills, of your genius packaged together, right? So, and then putting it in in certain business model. Of course, you need some kind of structure to start your business, but it's shifting your beliefs about you and your value, seeing value in yourself and in your offerings, and then just showing up from that space, fully owning your value and your worth. Did I
That's
answer
such good.
your question?
Yes, it's actually really good advice, because I think even especially for like artists, they just can draw and they're really good at it, but they don't realize we can't all do that. And other people are willing to pay to have that picture on our wall, and the artist doesn't price it high enough to live on. And then you
Mm-hmm.
get the poor starving artist, when in actual fact they have such a gift and they found their gift, and they have to do that shift to make it more valuable.
Yeah.
Like that is far more valuable than stocking the shelves in a store.
Absolutely. So it's seeing the value and importance of your work, of your gifts, of your
Mhm.
offer.
And it's what's special for you because nothing's wrong with stocking shelves in a store. I did it for years, but
Mm-hmm.
anybody could do it. But
Yeah.
to pull art and music and coaching, all of these things, that it's not everybody can do it. It's unique to you. And so I just didn't know, like sometimes the crossover where, especially for my community, people will still feel like they have to have a consistent job for a consistent paycheck in order to be okay. So that's a fear, but it's reality that you have to pay your rent at the end of the month. And that's what a lot of people say. Yeah, but I still have to pay my rent. I still have to feed myself. So how can
So
they transition?
yeah, there's a process of transition, and it's an important one. So I don't encourage anyone to just like quit their jobs and jump into their business with the mindset of lack, of fear, of not owning your value, of like not even trying business, not knowing what business is. No, I believe the transition should be gradual. For example, if you know you want to create your business, passion driven business, but business is a skill set. It's a different skill set. You're going to learn it. You're going to learn to share your message, to market, to position yourself. So it takes some time, right? So what I would do, I would keep that passion and dedicate consistent time towards it. Have a goal, have a purpose, set that, vision, set that goal for yourself, and dedicate consistent hours, 1 or 2 hours a day, to actually build it up, while working at a steady job that offers you a paycheck. I do advise it in the beginning. When you feel more comfortable, when you feel empowered, when you feel that your mind is supporting you, you know how to, you know, create messaging, put out your offers, launch your programs. And when you start seeing people, working with you, money flowing in, that's when you can say goodbye to your steady paycheck and transition into this business, which is completely just a reflection of your beliefs, of you owning your value, of you knowing how to run a business, right? So yes, I fully, two hands for this transition, meaning it's important, for you to feel steady, confident, certain about your business. Otherwise, it's going to be like a big panic attack, and you don't want to do that, right? So you don't want to jump into something unknowing with the head or mindset full of fear. It's not going to work for you. So
It's interesting.
it's a transition. It's a gradual one. It's a lot of inner work, and also learning this business as a new skill set and practicing. And when you feel and when you see that this machine is working, the business machine is working, you can easily transition and say goodbye to your 9 to 5 or a part-time job. I would do
Okay.
that. If you're a
And I think
single mom, if you are a single mom, that would be the best way.
I did it all wrong. So I will say, listen to Tatiana on this because I worked in pharmacy and it was 2019 in December, the day I wrote Faith Over Fear, sitting on a bench at work. And I just decided, I don't know what I want in life. I don't know what I'm meant to do, but I'm not doing this. And as a single mom with 2 teenagers going through a extremely high conflict divorce, I walked over and I handed my notice in. And then guess what happened? And I'm in a pharmacy for the next few years. Was with COVID. So I actually kind of was glad that I had given my notice because I didn't have to deal with any of that. But at the same time, it's the stress. It's really hard to be in creative mode when you're going, that might have not been the smartest thing to do. And now the world's shut down and I can't really have a backup plan. but I truly didn't know what I wanted to do. And then that's kind of where the universe trusting it helped, because in the end it's helping people who just went through all of that. But if they can do it smarter than I did, I'm all for that. Because that level of stress did not allow me to be in creator mode, and it throws you back in survival mode because you have that worry, that fear. You have a fear, I'm not going to pay the rent the next month. And I always could. Some days I don't know how, but I actually could always pay the bills because of that trust. I could always pay for groceries, pay for the rent, I could pay for clothes, but I
Mm-hmm.
was stressed about it, very
Yes. Well,
stressed.
there's one way to do it, which you did it, and I really admire your courage, just jumping in the full unknown. I love that you kind of did it. Did you have this like full trust in the process? Did that give you the courage to go through this?
I had to have, or I wouldn't have done it. I
Right.
just
Right.
might not have understood it at the time. And that's why I like the community I'm building, is because I didn't have that. I didn't know I should just like walk out on good terms, but walk out. And I had to have trusted, because there's no way someone who didn't trust could do that. But also, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I thought my plan was. I had a quit date. This is the day I'm quitting no matter what, or I'll, like, what started off as a job that I would do when my kids were little. I was now 17 years into it because I was just that little bit comfortable to not make a change. But it certainly wouldn't support me as a single mom, but it was fine back when I was married. And I think I had zero plan on how I was going to make money, but I understood the corporate world was not for me. Like working for someone 9 to 5, and my family, they thought, not my kids, but my siblings and parents, they're like, what is she doing? And they just thought I was crazy. So I'm still battling that part, 6 years. They don't understand, why don't you go back to a 9 to 5, without realizing, once you have a taste of not being in that, it's soul crushing to go back. Like, a lot of people just can't. And if they do, it's very temporary. But it's hard to mix the two, I find, for me. Like, if I went back to work where I was, I wouldn't have the energy or time. I would just be depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I could get out of bed to get to the job. So
Right.
there's a payoff. And it was when you explained on one of your classes how, but you're the source. And then it's like, oh. And then when we go through something quite traumatic, and it can be a lot of things, it can be illness, it can be so many different things, we end up getting through it to the other side. So we know how to do it because we got there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the support and tips and tricks, advice, whatever it is, it really helps, because back then nobody told me, maybe you shouldn't do that. But they're all like, yeah, I can understand why you would do that. And it was
Yeah.
confirmed when the world turned upside down. Working in the busiest Walmart pharmacy in Canada was probably not the place I wanted to be in. So I don't regret it, but I think I wish I had investigated a little bit more.
Right. Yeah. And what I shared with you, it's a safer transition process, for people who are not into personal development that much, who actually still need some time working on through mindset, understanding how this whole quantum field works, and then realizing, oh yeah, I am the source, so there's nothing to fear. And then once that realization is fully embodied, yeah, they can say goodbye to their corporate, but they need to get there. I mean, it's a process, it's a transition of fully like embodying, understanding, and then creating from the place of I am the only source of my life. But you got to get there. You got to like, practice it. You got to see how it works. You know what I mean? So it gave a safer process. Of course, you can jump in and create if you're like fully aware of your power. Not a lot of people are there,
I
especially.
do. I
Yeah.
was not fully aware of my power. That took a few more years. But what I did learn is to trust the universe.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
was, and I think that was the big step, living in faith, not fear, and trusting the universe has my back.
Hmm.
Those were the two biggest things. And it got me through a lot.
Yeah.
And I have no regrets. I would have changed a few things, but I don't have regrets.
Hmm.
But yes, I would transition if possible. And it won't, a transition won't work for everybody because lots of people lose their job or they didn't have a job to start with.
Hmm.
But if they're here listening to this, then they're already on their way. So
They
good
are.
for them.
And I'm so glad that you're creating this community where people are supported, where people realize that there are deeper things that will help you, come through any situation in your life, come through and transition much quicker than if you didn't have the support, you didn't have the tools. So your community is such a valuable resource and valuable environment for people who are facing difficult decisions in life, right? You've been through very tough transitions. You know what are the, most fundamental tools you get to use internally and then externally, like trusting the universe, believing in yourself. Those are like fundamental blocks. And then building from there, creating from there. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And taking responsibility. That
Taking
was my
number one. Yes.
that's number one. That one took me a while. That one took me a few years because it was always someone else's fault and you get nowhere. That's probably why I got stuck.
Mhm.
And when I figured that one out, then I got out of a little trap there. So we are going quite long, but I was going to ask you if you wanted to answer the 5 favorite things questions because I have favorites lists. And
Sure.
then and I think when we have favorite things, sometimes I'm like, really? And then other times I'm like, oh, that's so cool. That's so you. So it's always fun. What's your favorite recipe?
I love salads, all types of salads. And my favorite recipe is this peach salad with arugula. It's so fresh, it's so nourishing, it's so delicious, it's so simple. It's arugula, peach, um, mozzarella, corn, and a little bit of red onion and cherry tomatoes drizzled with lemon and olive oil. And it's so, so beautiful and delicious. So try it.
Okay, we will put it in our recipe list.
I
Next
can
time
send
you
you,
have it, send a picture
I'll
and the
send you,
recipe.
I actually even have photographs of those salads that I made. They look like picture perfect and they're also delicious.
Oh, perfect. Okay, because I want to expand. Actually, most people that I've interviewed, it's all healthy foods. Like that, nobody's like, oh, I love chocolate or
I
something.
love chocolate and cakes as well.
We love it, but we
But
think when it
yeah.
comes down to our comfort food. Okay, and your favorite book and author?
Have two. So one is The Journey Home by Creon. It's a channeled book and it changed my life at the critical moment. I read it 5 times and every time I read it, I saw different, like deeper layers of consciousness and awakening. So The Journey Home. And the second one, Conversations with God by Donald Walsh. Also,
I love that book.
paradigm shifting, mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Both
already have the conversations with God on my favorites list because I love it as well.
love it. Yeah.
It's fascinating, but I haven't heard The Journey Home, so I will add that one. And your favorite artist and song? The one that would be like a transformational. We have a women's empowerment song list I have,
Mm,
and it's kind
that's a
of
tough.
upbeat.
I remember the period of my life when I was listening to Sia Unstoppable. I know it's a pop song, but like the rhythm, the energy in that song is just so energizing and empowering. So maybe that.
That's on my list already because my word of the year was unstoppable, and so I picked that song with it.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I love that song too. We got lots in common, except I'm less likely to eat a salad. Your Your favorite movie or show?
I don't watch much TV, but the latest documentary on Netflix I really enjoyed, and that is Our Universe. That was very like truly amazing to witness. Scientific perspective, spiritual perspective, all combined together, and like they produced the most amazing series
And that's a series on Netflix.
on Netflix. Our Universe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple episodes till my TV went away.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it one there's really good visuals? Like they did
Very.
a really good, yeah, I did see a couple of those episodes. Highly recommend as well. If you go on a vacation, it could be a restaurant too. Your favorite place to visit?
Tuscany, Italy. Tuscany. It's the most beautiful place on earth, in my view, in my perspective. And I know one of my past lives I lived there. That's why it's like homecoming, soul coming to for me.
Ah, so you used to be Italian.
Italian, a man in Italy, yes. Not a woman, not Tatiana.
And bonus, what is your favorite motto or your favorite quote?
Favorite quote. Oh, I love this one. You can, you will. End of story. Let's go.
I like it
Mm-hmm.
and very appropriate.
Oh, I can, I will. End of story. Let's go, Tatiana. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun. And I will get it posted so everybody can listen to it. I'll send you a copy. And I'm so grateful that you were able to come on today. And I love talking to you and knowing we have the same taste in music and movies. And I'll go check out Tuscany.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Juan. It's such an honor and pleasure to share this content, this wisdom with you and your community. And I hope you will find it valuable and you can actually take this value and integrate it into your daily lives.
Okay, I know I will. And I'll also put all your links with the post so everybody can get a hold of you in case they want to know if they were an Italian man in a past life too.
I do that. I do pass it.
Yeah, because you do so much. This is barely the tip of the iceberg on everything you do. So I'll put your website and any links you give me, I will post them with the interview.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor.